The fact that Dave Chappelle said all of this on SNL is insane.
A lot of you don't understand why Trump was so popular, but I get it because I hear it every day. He's very loved. The reason he's loved is because people in Ohio have never seen somebody like him. He's what I call an honest liar. That first debate, I'd never seen anything like it. I've never seen a white male billionaire screaming at the top of his lungs, "This whole system is rigged." And across the stage was a white woman, Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama, sitting over there looking at him like, "No, it's not." And the moderator said, "Well, Mr. Trump, if in fact the system is rigged, what would be your evidence?" He said, "I know the system is rigged because I use it." I said, "God damn." And then Hillary Clinton tried to punch him in the taxes. She said, "This man doesn't pay his taxes." He shot right back. "That makes me smart." And then he said, "If you want me to pay my taxes, then change the tax code. But I know you won't, because your friends and your donors enjoy the same tax breaks that I do." And with that, my friends, the star was born.
What a time to be alive. Now we got convicted felon Donald Trump running for president. Insane. First time ever, historical situation. But all of this only matters if you care. If they do take Donald Trump, that's sending a clear message to all of us that you best not try to get into politics. These politicians, the deep state, they got this. And anybody tries to come in here and run the country, you're going to get taken down. So right now, Trump just got convicted, and July 11th, they're going to give him the verdict in terms of how much time he got to spend in jail. So he does get the title of convicted felon, 34 felonies. But now what's going to happen? Are they going to send him to jail, home confinement, or what? And it's all up to a Democratic judge. So it's all up to his discretion. He's taking a look at the country, at what they're saying on TV, and he doesn't want civil unrest. So sending him to jail would just be chaotic. I don't think he's going to do that, but he might, because if they do send him to jail, I think he's going to win on a landslide, in my opinion. But we don't know, because politics is so emotional that some people may say, "I'm not voting for a convicted felon." Hell no. And some people may look and see that this is so unfair. And if they could do that to Trump, they could do that to any of us. All right, in this video, we're going to take a look at the Black conservative and his opinion. The man is pretty good at putting his thoughts out there. And I want to take a look and then give you guys my opinion. Welcome to Verbal on Life. My name is Noel, battling MS, and I'm trying this new system out. Let's see how it works. All right, let's take a look.
He's not guilty at all. I was in the court every day. He's not guilty. There's no evidence. No evidence. They all lie. It's a blue state. They chose all the juries. It's a hate Trump. They hate Trump. That's why they say they're guilty. It's not guilty. Yeah.
And he'll be back.
Yeah, he'll be back. Trump 2024. Never stop. Never give up.
Let me say this. My mind was not made up before, but it is definitely made up now. And I will definitely be voting for Donald Trump, because the weaponization of the legal system, it is so blatant, and this corruption cannot stand. Whether I like Donald Trump or not, which I don't, I feel that it is essential that I vote for him, because I must stand against the lawfare that was put on display by the Democratic Party, Alvin Bragg, all of these folks. And it's a shame, because I'm a New Yorker. I live here in New York. And as a Black man who lives in the United States and in New York, I know what it's like to have the legal system used against you, specifically targeting you. So,
and it's so sad that not everybody sees it that way. That man just made a clear point. Lawfare, using the legal system to take you down, to put you in your place, let you know what you can and cannot do. Because if you try something they don't like, they're going to throw the law at you. Insane. They're doing it to Trump, and that's a billionaire, let alone the regular people who are just trying to come up and become rich. What do you think they're going to do to those people that they don't like and don't follow the narrative?
I mean, bro, at the end of the day, to expect us to just sit back and watch this happen and just ride with it like it's okay, like we're stupid and we don't see what's going on, that's crazy.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. I gotta tell you guys, sparks are flying on the mainstream liberal media this morning as Republicans are pushing back in full force against the mainstream liberal media, taking a victory lap in celebrating the conviction of former President Trump based off these politically motivated, trumped up charges that was brought against him by woke DA Alvin Bragg. Now, again, nobody actually knows what crime Trump committed. Okay, nobody can really articulate exactly what the issue is. Okay, I mean, the jury didn't even really have to know what crime he committed. They just had to agree that he committed some crime or that he falsified business records in order to commit some other crime. Which, I mean, hey, again,
you know what? This was the time for them to be clearly point out to the people watching what is the crime. They should have took this opportunity and be super clear with people and let people know, like, look, this is what laws he broke. This is why we're taking him to jail, or this is why we're convicting him guilty. So they really lost out on that opportunity, and they let the other narrative play out. The fact that why are they locking up Trump? There's really no reason for it. So it's a matter of sending out the wrong message.
You know, I hope that this conviction will be overturned. The sad part is that it'll probably be too late, as in it won't happen until after the election. But you know what? That's okay. Like I told you guys yesterday, we're really in the second best case scenario if you look at where we were at the beginning of this year. If you look at where we was at the beginning of this year, we were looking at Trump being thrown off the ballots, banned from ballots in liberal states. We're looking at the classified documents case, the January 6th case, the RICO case, and this case. We're looking at all these cases potentially being tried, maybe multiple convictions in multiple different cases, Trump thrown off the ballot. All that stuff, fast forward to today, the only thing that we're looking at going into election, okay, well, he's convicted on the hush money charges that nobody gives a damn about, right? Nobody cares about this at all, okay? I don't think that this is going to move the needle except for helping Trump. In fact, I think that this is going to backfire. This may honestly be a worst case scenario for Democrats than if Trump had been found not guilty, because people are angry now. People are upset. There's so many videos that I've seen where people say, hey, I don't even like Trump. I'm independent. I was on the fence. Now I have to vote for this man because I disagree with what is happening to him. Okay, because the weaponization of the criminal justice system is so blatant and obvious.
I hope that is so true. You know, every time I go online or I see somewhere somebody agreeing with the fact that Trump was found guilty and agreeing with the court, that just get me thinking, wow, some people are you just can't convince them. They are blue no matter who, you know. But hopefully there's more people who think this was just unjust and they should jump on the Trump bandwagon. You know, all we could do is just hope.
In your face. And Trump's campaign website crashed yesterday due to an influx of donations. Okay. And we're going to talk about some of those numbers because those numbers are coming in and Trump is breaking records when it comes to donations and support. The energy is crazy right now. Okay. This might have been one of the worst things that Democrats could possibly do. And Scott Jennings, who's a Republican commentator on CNN, he is going to tell the panel that, hey, this is going to backfire. He's going to explain this to the CNN panel. And then this liberal, George Conway, is going to lose his mind over the fact that, hey, this isn't going to work out too well for Democrats. Because, again, it's already not working out too well for them in the sense that the momentum that Trump is gaining is insane. So, without further ado, let's get into it.
That hard. Donald Trump is not the victim here. Donald Trump does all of these things to himself. And I agree with David. I mean, once upon a time, the Republican Party was the party not just of anti-hippies, but of personal responsibility and of law and order. What party? Where is that party? Here, no one's willing to hold, in the Republican Party is willing to hold Donald Trump to account for his crimes that aren't really even in dispute. And no one is willing to call him out and said he's going to get the nomination. That's just insane, and it just shows the degree of moral rot we have on the conservative side of politics.
And that guy right there is the number one Trump hater. He's actually married to, I think, Kellyanne Conway, or they were married, which was Donald Trump's right-hand man, Kellyanne Conway. She was actually his press secretary. And now, not the press secretary, but she worked with Donald Trump. And look what her husband is doing. Number one Trump enemy. Insane.
Today.
Scott Jennings, I think this is for you. Where is that party?
Well, I disagree with a number of things George said, of course. I mean, he's talking about these obvious crimes that were committed. I mean, he's talking about the obvious crimes that were supposedly committed, but that's the core of what a lot of decidedly non-MAGA Republicans are mad about, is that there is no underlying crime. I looked at the statement from Maine Senator Susan Collins, who I think encapsulated it perfectly. She said this was a partisan prosecutor who promised to get Trump. Nonsense. And that's what he did. Not promise to go after the law, but he promised to go after Donald Trump. And so the issue is here, what is the crime? He's never been indicted for or convicted of the campaign finance theory at the core of this case. And so Republicans are wondering today, what
And only reason they went after Trump was because he decided to run for presidency. Like before he said it, they were all quiet for letting it slide. But once he announced that he was running for president, that's when all the court cases just started piling on him. So one could only think that as soon as the election season is over in November, they might just drop the charges. But right now, they just need to label him convicted criminal, Donald Trump.
What do you have to do to build a defense against something you've never been convicted of in the first place? I'll tell you, the mood in the party, if you're sort of looking for a generalized attitude, reminds me a little bit about the Kavanaugh period. You go back to the Brett Kavanaugh hearings, 2018. I remember that period being the MAGA people were mad, the non-MAGA, the anti-Trump, the pro-Trump. Every wing of the party was vibratingly angry about what was being done to Kavanaugh. I feel and sense that the same thing is happening today, which is why I think you're probably going to see this backfire politically on the Democrats, and they're going to regret it.
Yeah, I mean, I said yesterday, I think that this is kind of the Roe v. Wade moment for the Republican Party, okay, in the sense that in 2022, you saw that after Roe v. Wade was overturned by the Supreme Court, that energized the Democrats, okay? I mean, in 2022, this is when inflation was at its peak. The border crisis was really starting to get more out of control. Crime was out of control. I mean, I guess you could argue things for the Biden administration were at their worst in 2022 for the most part. I guess you could argue that. But what happened was that after Roe v. Wade was overturned, there was so much energy in the Democrat Party, like that essentially revived the base of the Democrat Party and gave them a reason to get out and vote during the midterms. And that is why you ended up with a red puddle instead of a red wave. I think that's the type of energy that we have here right now in regards to what's going on with Trump. This conviction of Trump is like that moment in politics where it's like, okay, now people on the right and maybe even independents who were leaning towards Trump or undecided, but understand that this is not fair, who don't agree with this. Now, a lot of people are much more motivated to go out and to support Trump. And that, again, tends to be what happens in politics when you have these very, very, very significant events that make people upset. It tends to shift the momentum, right? Again, I really do think that this is kind of the Republican version of the Roe v. Wade moment. And I think it's likely to have the same effect in the sense that now, again, conservatives are motivated to go out and vote in order to keep Trump out of jail, okay? Because if we don't vote, if Trump loses the election, it's over. They're going to throw him in jail, okay? There's nothing that he will be able to do to stop what the Democrats and the establishment are trying to do to him, right?
And that's a good message. You know, they will be throwing him in jail if he loses the election. That should motivate more people to go ahead and vote. We need to keep Trump out of jail because he had a good economy. Everything was good. Gas prices was low. Grocery prices were low. Home prices, interest rate were low. Everything was doing great under Trump. And people just got to remember that. So that message that he will be locking him up after November if he doesn't win, that should motivate more people to go out there and vote. So good message.
Right. So his only hope really is to win the election. He has to win. It is a must-win situation. Okay. And I hope that people understand that now.
I mean, George, I will say, I have heard from some people who really don't want to see Trump get elected in the Republican Party who are concerned that this particular case is just going to drive additional enthusiasm for the former president. I'm interested to respond to that. And you got your face in your hands. What do you got to say, Scott?
I have to say, Scott's lying, and that's the problem with the Republican Party. It is continually addicted to lies.
Wait a minute. What am I lying
You're
about?
lying. You're lying. You're lying, Scott. You're lying about the law. You're lying about what the jury was charged to find. They don't have to find an underlying crime. They had to find the intent to cover up an underlying crime. And the underlying crime was pretty obvious.
What was the crime?
You ran for public office, Scott. You ran for public office, Scott. You know you can't take money from somebody and reimburse them if it's a campaign expense. You know that damn well. And okay, fine. Well, you're close enough. You're involved in politics to know that. Okay, so that's the problem with the Republican Party is that they are suffused with lies. I don't know why this network is paying Scott to say those lies.
Whoa. Okay, let's not go there, George. Please, let's not go there.
No,
okay.
we should go there.
Scott is our colleague, and we're going to treat him respectfully as such. Continue.
Well, you shouldn't lie.
Here's my question: If it is an obvious crime, why did the Department of Justice and the Federal Election Commission take a pass on it?
Well,
they should have prosecuted. It should have been prosecuted on January 21, 2021.
Let's look
okay, that's what. This is the thing about Donald Trump.
Trump derangement syndrome, right there in full display. This man is scared of Donald Trump. And God only knows it's in his blood, Trump derangement syndrome.
Donald
He's
Trump,
never been
Donald
indicted for
Trump
this.
has to say he should have been indicted for it by the feds is not the same as an explanation on why they didn't do it. Again, the question is, why did the feds refuse to go after Trump if he actually committed a campaign finance violation? Because again, the theory here is that, well, he falsified business records to commit another crime. The other crime is a campaign finance violation, which typically would be something that is handled by the feds, the DOJ, okay, not by some state prosecutor. So again, it's one thing to say, well, they should have done it. And it's another to say, well, okay, why didn't they do it, right? Just because you say they should have did it, that's not an explanation on why they didn't do it, okay? So again, nobody knows what the crime is, okay? He hasn't actually been found guilty of committing any real crime, right? Of any campaign finance violation. But, well, he intended to do so. That, again, that's different than saying that he actually did it. To say, well, he intended to do it is different than to say that he actually did it. He hasn't actually been found guilty of committing an actual crime outside of falsified business records, which is a misdemeanor. And again, that's why so many people are looking at this and they're like, well, what the hell is going on? Like, what is this? Right? Like, what like nobody can tell you exactly what he did, right? That's an actual felony. But it wasn't just the DOJ that decided not to go after Trump. Also, the previous Manhattan DA decided not to go after Trump, right? Now, all of a sudden, Alvin Bragg gets in, and then you got this guy that moves from the Biden DOJ to the Manhattan DA office. All of a sudden, oh, now they're going after Trump. Again, everybody knows this is political. Everybody knows, but again, these idiots on the mainstream media, they don't want you to believe your eyes, right? They don't want you to believe your ears. They don't want you to believe what's clear and obvious and right in front of your face in regards to how this specific set of charges, these are the most political, most obviously political, okay? Everybody knows it. Everybody sees it. Even CNN's legal analysts know it. Their main guy, Eli Honig, wrote an article this morning outlining how, the things that happened in this case are unprecedented, right? Like, for example, how the judge donated money to a pro-Biden, anti-Trump political operation, which is clearly in violation of the rules that prohibit New York judges from making any type of political donations. So he violated the law, right? The judge, but they allowed him to stay on the case, even though, again, this guy seems to be an anti-Trumper, right? He's working against Trump. He's anti-Trump, biased. Alvin Bragg talked about on the campaign trail, having sued Trump, going after Trump. All this stuff is outlined. He outlines how, legally speaking.
All right, I'm going to leave it there. This is crazy. We live in some crazy time. Yes, they try him for paperwork. And at the end of the day, all that matters is that us, we got to be verbal on life. We got to complain about this. And the number one way to complain is to elect convicted felon Donald Trump into the presidency. We have to vote, and we have to put our voices out there. And that's the number one way to put your voice out there, to vote for the man, for the convicted felon Donald Trump, and get him into office to fix things up. Because right now, the deep state is winning. And the Democratic Party is showing that they are the number one team in the deep state. That they are the ones shutting down anybody that wants to come into politics. But you know what? That's my thoughts on it. Verbal on Life. My name is Noel, battling MS. And I had to put my idea because we are living in the time of our life. Making history. First time a former president gets convicted as a felon. Comment below, give it a like, and see you guys on the next video. Let me go upstairs and make it happen. Shout out to Nate, No Filter, for pointing out that they're just trying the paperwork. It is what it is. Today's Friday. Monday, I'm going in for my treatment, so it won't be available. Hopefully, I'll try to stream this weekend. Right now, I'm going to go figure something out with my son, see what I'm going to do. And I just wanted to get the voice out there. Conservative, the Black Conservative, I'm going to put a link to his video below. And let me go upstairs. All right. Peace.
Verbal on life.